Welcome to the fundamentals of Python. In this course, you will learn installation of Python, printing your first hello world, you'll learn about variables, lists, function, and finally, we shall conclude with if conditions. Beginning with the installation of Python, head over to your favorite browser. In the search bar, type Python download. Python download. So you click on this first link, which is from python.org, because it's the official page for Python. Click on it. Then it will bring you to this page. Download the latest version of Python for Windows. Since my machine has a Windows operating system, but if yours is not a Windows operating system, download that for your specific operating system. So I'm going to click on the download button. You see it's downloading over here. Wait for it. So we have successfully downloaded Python. The next is installing it on our machine. What you're going to do, you double click on what you've just downloaded. A new window will pop up and click on this link which says install now. So it's preparing to install on our machine. As you can see, setup was successful. To check whether we have rightfully installed Python on our machine, go on the Windows search bar, type cmd, that is the short form for command prompt. So this black window will pop up. There you type Python -v. V is for the version. So if you get this text, it means you have successfully installed Python on your machine. So now, the next thing we are going to do is to write our first Python code. Go where you've installed your editor. For my case, I'm using Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to locate it and open it. So I'm going to create a new folder for this. On the desktop, I'll come and click a free space, right click, new. Then I will create a folder for it, and that folder I'm calling it Python fundamentals. I'm going to hit enter and select it. So in this folder, I'm going to create my first Python file. The icons up there. The first one is for file, create new file. Next is for creating a new folder. So I'm going to create a new file for this course. So I'm going to click on create new file. That small path will display. I'm going to type the file name app.py. py is the extension for Python. If you have successfully installed Python, you'll see that this icon, the icon for Python, changing over there. Hit on enter. Boom, we have successfully created our first Python file. Python has inbuilt keywords. To print something on the console, you just type print, then what you want to print. For this case, I'm printing a string. A string is a data type in Python. I will explain what data types are in Python for a minute. So I'm going to say this is my first Python code. So we are going to run it. We are going to run without debugging. I want to show you guys how to install the extension for Python in your VS Code. To install any extension in VS Code, you come over to this icon which says extension. You click on it, then it will bring you to this marketplace. In the search bar, type whatever extension you're looking for. For this case, I'm looking for a Python extension. So I'm just going to type Python. I'm going to install the first one, which has 97.5 million downloads. As our extension is installing, let me open a new terminal down here. Yeah, my terminal I've successfully opened it. Let me enlarge it. So we have successfully installed Python extension on our VS Code. So the next thing is, let's go and run our app.py. Yeah, you see now, since we have added the extension, there is a run button over here. Click on it. Now you can see down here the output, the output of the print. This is my first Python code. Congratulations, you have written your first Python code. So next I'm going to teach you guys variables and concatenation in Python. But first, let's begin with the variable. A variable is a placeholder. As in a variable, you can put any data type you want. In a simple term, think of a variable as a box. In a box, you can put a pen, a pencil, a book, or any other thing. Yeah, that's a simple explanation of a variable. So now let me show you what I mean in code. So let's give our variable a name. Just type the name. So I'm going to call this name and assign it a value. I'll give it my name. So I'm called coffee. I'll put in coffee. So instead of printing a string over here in the print function, I'm going to remove that string, and I'll copy this name, put it in the print function over here. So if I run this code, it will print what is inside the variable, as in what's inside the box. Yeah, you can see down here it has printed my name. So the same thing I'm going to do is I'll give my age. So assuming I'm 35 years old, I'll set 35. Instead of putting 35 here, I'll just call this age. And if I run it, you can see down here it has printed the value 35. So now let's do something programmatic. So now I'm going to bring the idea of concatenation. I'll give a string. My name is for concatenation, use the plus sign. Concatenation means joining different words together. So I'm going to say my name is, instead of typing coffee, I'm going to put a variable name over there. Name. Again, I'll concatenate it. Then I'll say full stop. I am. Concatenate age. Again, concatenate the last string. I am dash space years old. So if I run this code, I can see my name is Coffee. I am 35 years old. Guys, you know that the 35 it's not a number, it's a string. So if you want to concatenate anything, you have to use a string. Let me show you guys. If I use int, I get this error. Type error can only concatenate strings, not int. Meaning you can't use concatenation with int. So if you want to concatenate this, you have to convert this int to a string. To convert that, you just type str, then in brackets. It means I want to convert 35 into a string, a data type of string. So if you run it, it will bring, yeah, it will print it out. Now the error is gone. But in case you guys are wondering, assuming I don't know this SRT, how can I figure it out? So I know you guys have heard of AI. It has made our work easier. It has made debugging easier. So what you're going to do, if you get like any error when you're working with when you're coding, you get any error, you just copy the error you have, you copy it, and go over to your favorite browser, search for ChatGPT. So if you don't have account with ChatGPT, you go and create one. Me, I've already created one, so it will bring me to this window. In this place here, you paste the error. You say print type error can only concatenate strings, not int. Just send it to ChatGPT. It will work its magic. It will explain for you why the error occurred, and it will show you how you can work your error out of it. So it says that the error you're encountering is because you're trying to concatenate a string and an integer directly using the plus operator in Python, which is not allowed. To fix this error, you need to convert the integer variable age to a string before concatenating it with the other strings. You can do this using str function. Here is how you can concatenate it. It shows you how you can do it. So you just copy this and you go and paste over there to the error you're getting. So you copy this code, yeah, you just go, you come over to your editor, you copy and you paste it there, you run it, then your problem will be fixed. That's it for variables and concatenation. So now I'm going to talk about a list. A list is a built-in data structure used to store a collection of items. Lists are ordered, mutable, meaning you can change their elements, and can contain elements of different data types, including integers, strings, or even other lists. So in a layman's term, you can think of a list as a category. A list can really simplify your job. For example, assuming you have millions of people with different names and their ages. If you're using a variable, that means you have to create a variable for each person's name and its age. But with a list, you can create a single list, then access it from there. For example, here I've created a list of people, and in each list I gave the person's name and age. The person's name and age, you can see Sheila, she's 20 years old. Then John, 10 years old. Then there's Peter, he's 21 years old. So in order to access items in a list, you use index. Index in Python begins with 0. The first element is on index 0 up to positive infinity. So for example, if I want to access this name Coffee from this list, I just use index 0 to access that name. Then in order to access the person's age, I do the same thing, list, then the person's name and the index. Yeah, so the age is at 35, which is at index 1. So if I run this code, you can see the output down here. My name is Kofi, I'm 35 years old. The same thing, if I want to access Sheila, I'm going to give it, Sheila is on index 2. So I'm going to change this index 1 with index 2. Then his age is at index 3. So I'm going to change that with 3. So if I run this, you'll see the output down here. The name, my name is Sheila, I am 20 years old. That's it for lists. Next we shall talk about functions. A function is a reusable block of code that performs a specific task or set of tasks. Functions are fundamental concepts in programming that allow you to organize your code, make it more modular, and avoid duplicating code. Functions can take input, perform operations, and produce output. For example, there is this function I've earlier declared. It's called def. Like when you're declaring functions in Python, use this keyword def, then the function name and parameters. A function can take no parameter, or it can have parameters. But for this case, we created a function with that of parameter. So what this function does is, in this function we are passing the name as Sheila. So it's like assigning Sheila to this variable name, then assigning 20 to this age, to variable age. So if we run this code, you can see down here, my name is Sheila, I am 20 years old. You can change this name to Coffee. And again, if you run it, you can see down here, my name is Coffee, I'm 20 years old. But what you have to know is the way you pass these variables matters. Like, let me say I want to pass 20 in the name variable, then the age, the name this side. So let me pass here Coffee. So if I'm to run this code, I'm getting this error because 20 goes in, 20 will be contained in this variable name, and if it is passed here, it is passed as an integer. And remember, earlier on we said integers can't be concatenated. That's why we are getting this error. So you will be careful of the order of how you want your data to be passed into the function. So let me show you guys interesting ways of how you can use functions in real life. For example, if you go onto a website, they have that section where you input your name, your email, your address, then you sign up. So let me show you guys how to do that. So like there's a code here for getting the user's input. I'm going to uncomment that. Then also I'm going to, now we shall get the user's name, we store it in this variable name. So I'm going to change, I'm going to remove here. In the function call, I'm going to change that. I'll pass in the name. Then here I'll pass the age, because again we shall get the age from the user. So if we run this code, it tells us enter your name. I am called Coffee, so I will enter. Not there. It's here in the console. We are entering our name down there. So I'll enter Coffee. Then I'll say enter. Enter your age. I am 35 years old. Enter. Then you see the output here. My name is Coffee. I'm 35 years old. That's it for functions. Next, we shall dive into backend development with Django. See you there.